Alright, Hayes Vegas back, and I've got the tire installed successfully and balanced. Now it's time to go reinstall into the bike. Alright, so let's do it. Okay, right. So this is the installation portion. We'll kind of loosely go over it. Alright, it's just to install the left side collar to the driven flange. Alright, this guy. Alright, the thing that's on the other end of this, okay? We'll show you. That. Okay, make sure that's there. That it doesn't come off very easily because there's a seal on there holding it in, okay? But do make sure the one that's in there is on there. Alright, and then when we put that back on, we're gonna have to put that collar back on, alright? Or space. Okay, so some of the stuff is gonna be different because I did it a little bit different. I left the adjusters on there, so it's telling you to put the adjusters back on. They're still in there, okay? And it says place the rear wheel between the swing arm. All right, so that's the next one. Install the drive chain over the drive sprocket. All right, that's going to be the tough one because I had hell of a time getting it out before. Okay, what I could do to make it easier is take the air out of the tire and then try to squeeze the tire to get it past this reflector. I'm having problems getting it past this reflector here. Okay, and we could just take the reflector off. It'll make it easier. In fact, I'm just going to go do that right now. Okay, I'm going to remove this reflector. It's the opposite, yeah. This way, okay. Probably want to hold it. Hopefully you don't break it when you take it off because it's plastic. I might just take it. I might just leave this out, period. I don't know, man. I'll put some reflective tape on my ribs just for that. I don't know. I'm trying to do this with one hand, guys, so. It is a lock nut, so it's gonna be kind of hard to get out. Okay, anyway, just get it interesting. This is a Stanley reflector. It's made by Stanley. It's a USDM spec, as one say. Okay, so hopefully that will allow us to get it in. This is the way I got it out before, so this is the way we're gonna try to get it in again. All right. So when we try to put the wheel back in, I'm not gonna put all that stuff in yet. All right, all that stuff over there. We're gonna put that in after we got the wheel in because it makes it easier to get. It made it easier to get it out. Okay, because you need to make the wheel skinnier. All right. So the way I have it right now is the wrong way. The brake should be on the other side. Okay. Also, make sure you've got these rubbers, the Cush Drive rubbers in there. All right. Okay. So okay. Good luck, Hayes Mega. Here we go. So I'm gonna try to squeeze this in here on the side like that. Okay, so it cleared the reflector, no problem. There you go. So there's a little trick right there. Remove that reflector. All right. If you got a Super Cub in a different country, yours might be different. All right, but this is what it looks like in America. It's got this freaking ugly ass reflector on the side here because of DOT rules and all that. Okay. So we got it in there. Next thing to do is to put the sprocket carrier back in, and then the brake assembly. Okay, so this is the sprocket hub carrier. Make sure you got that spacer that's in there, okay? And make sure you have the one that's on the outside too. Okay, I'm gonna go put this in. It's pretty easy it's keyed, so it'll really only go in one way. Okay, just like that. Push it in. All right, that's one. And now we're gonna go put the brake assembly back in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the brake assembly back in. So this is the collar here. Just make sure you put that back when you put the axle back. I'm going to move this little rod out of the way a little bit. Okay, probably a good time to clean the brake drum with some brake cleaner or something. You've got a lot of brake dust in there, and this is going to be on the outside of that, but we'll have to put the axle in first. All right. So make sure you got your adjusters in there, and they're still all the way in. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my axle. All right. Okay. Remember we marked it. I marked it left and up. All right. So this is going to go in from the left side. So I'm going to stick it where the adjuster is. Okay, I'm going to try to lift the wheel up, stick the axle through it. Okay, does it quite easily. Okay, but don't, so keep on trying to get it in there, but don't, the brake is coming off. Okay. Push this back in. Alright, hold this. I've got to hold the side here. Alright, I'm going to hold the side here. Push the axle through. Okay, there we go. Alright, but don't push it through all the way yet. What you're going to want to do is stick this guy here, okay? Put it between the swing arm and the brake. Alright, I may need to push it out a little bit. Pretty tight fit. Okay, so that's what we're working with right there. So we've got this we've got the spacer right here, all right, sandwiched between the swing arm and the brake drum, and then you've got your adjuster right here. Okay, so push the adjuster in. Remember, it's keyed. There's a little, you can't put it in wrong, okay? Basically, if you put it in the wrong way, it won't fit. All right, and then try to push. So I'm gonna have to try to get this chain out of the way because it's kind of in the way of the adjuster. This wheel's kind of falling off too. Okay, I'm pushing the axle through the other side, and I'm trying to line it up with the adjuster. Okay, I got it lined up. Push it all the way through. All right, there we go. Okay, I want to push the adjuster all the way forward. Okay, let's push this adjuster all the way forward. Okay. Alright, so now that's back on there. We can put our axle hardware back on. So, if you remember correctly, this one is the right one, and it goes up. Okay. Or there's a little white mark. I put a little white mark on the top too, so, or the previous owner did. We're going to stick that in. Okay, I might, okay, good, fits. Yeah, this exhaust is like in the way, man. It's a pain in the ass. And then we're going to put your axle nut in. Okay, and just maybe just hand tighten it. Don't tighten it a lot. Okay. Just enough so the axle doesn't come out. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is push the axle, push the adjusters all the way forward. All right. I think that's as far as it wants to go. All right, and then we're gonna. If your chain is as greasy as mine, probably want to wear some gloves. Okay. So, I'm gonna push the wheel as far forward as you can. I think that's as far forward as it'll go. Okay, and then you're going to try to put the chain back on. Okay, yeah, just like that. Okay, put it back on the sprocket without your gloves getting stuck in there. Okay, spin it around. Make sure it's locked in. Okay, and then now we're going to start tightening up the adjuster. So if you remember correctly, it was 6, I had it 6 tick marks from the end of the swing arm, alright? So I want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? So I want to line up this edge with the 6th tick mark from the edge, or the second one from the left, okay? And you want to do the same thing with the other side. I got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you can also mark it. All right, just make sure you put it back where you found it. Okay. I might want to tighten it a little bit more because I think my chain was a little bit loose before. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. This one is kind of harder to see though. Okay. Okay. Start tightening this stuff up. this want to go back in straight. Did I put this adjuster back in wrong? Hope not. Yes, for whatever reason, this one doesn't want to go back in straight. I think I may have put this in wrong. Or just it's crooked. If it's really crooked, it won't go back in. Okay. Okay, so 6 marks. All right, so I had it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I want to keep on going. Okay, somewhere around there. I'm going to cover up the tick mark. Okay, so now I got the wheel back on and the axle in there. I'm going to take out our little our jack stand here. Okay, it's free. And then now I'm going to check the chain slack before we start tightening everything up. So this is your chance to adjust the chain. All right, since you're already there, might as well do it. It's 25 to 35 millimeters, guys. So okay, and I think you got to check it like right around here. It's where the hole is in the little thing. Okay, this seems like too much, so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this a little bit. That looks good. Okay, so yeah, just tighten up, just adjust your chain to just fine tune it. Okay, I got my chain adjusted how I want it. So what I'm gonna do is get my 2 wrenches. All right, get my locking thingy up there. I want to tighten the 2 nuts together. Okay, I'll do the same thing for the other side. Okay, so I got a little ahead of myself. So one thing we forgot to do was apply grease to the rear axle surface. All right, so not gonna lie, the axle was pretty dry. Okay, but that's the way it came from the factory, so whatever. Okay, but anyway, it slid in there nicely. So we put the rear axle in. All right, so you're gonna put the rear axle in, the axle nut, the adjuster plates, the rear wheel, and then the right side collar. What the heck, man? All right. Anyway, yeah. I didn't quite do it in that order, but so what I did was I put the wheel in, all right, then we put the hub in, all right, the sprocket carrier, and then we put the brake in, all right, and then after that we put the adjuster. The adjuster was already on the axle. Before we put the wheel in also, I took the reflector out so you can get it in there better, and that worked like a charm. All right, and then we slid the axle in. We made sure the spacers are all there. Before you put the sprocket in, you make sure all the spacers are in there. Make sure this is orientated the right way, okay? And then stick the axle through there, and then make sure it goes through the brake assembly, all right, the brake drum, and then before it comes out the other end, stick the collar in there, and then push the axle all the way through it, okay? And then put the other adjuster plate in. There's a washer here, and then there's the nut. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is doesn't go over any of the torque specs. Okay, so anyway, I guess what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna torque the axle. All right. So what you might want to do before anything else, make sure your chain adjustment is still good. Okay. Still good. Okay, so before you tighten the axle, you have to install the stopper arm, okay? And to install the stopper arm, you have to have your bolt, the rubber washer, and the flat washer and the nut. All right, and then they say to use a new cotter pin, so we'll go use a new cotter pin. So if you tighten the axle, you won't be able to move the brake drum. All right, it won't move like that; it'll be stuck. All right, so okay, so line up the drum with the stopper arm. All right, stick the bolt in there. It looks like this thing it's keyed also, so make sure it's in there all the way. There you go. All right, so okay, see here on the other side, make sure the bolt it rests in there flat, okay, or else it holds the bolt, so you can tighten it without having to have another bolt back there. Okay, so go ahead and install the rubber washer. Okay, rubber washer goes in, flat washer goes in, then the nut goes in. Alright, I'm going to hand tighten it first. Okay, so you need to torque this nut to 16 foot-pounds according to the manual, okay? And I'm going to use this extension and torque device, alright, because the muffler is in the way, alright? So, okay. And it should, the nut should stay, the bolt should stay in there. Okay. Should be good. Now we're going to put a new cotter pin in. So if you want to be super high, you could use a cotter pin, alright? If you want to reuse the cotter pin, you could probably do it if it's still in good shape. But here's a brand new cotter pin. Just stick it through the hole and put the cotter pin in. Just bend it so it doesn't go back out. But Hayes Mega is going to be super high speed, and we're going to use a hitch pin clip. All right. So I'm going to stick a hitch pin clip in there. All right. That way, that'll be easy to get out next time. All right. All you got to do is pull the thing out. It doesn't look very nice though. It looks like, I don't think you'll even notice it, man. All right. Okay, there you go. I put the hitch pin clip, or you could use a cotter pin. All right. So cotter pin's harder to get out. This will make removing the wheel in the future much easier. That's what I want to say. Okay. In fact, you can even put no, that's not going out. Okay. Okay. So here's the so you're gonna put the spring in. All right. You're gonna depress the brake pedal. That's going to pull the rod back, and then pull the drum brake out a little bit, alright? Stick the pin in there. Pull the brake drum out. Arm, okay? Get the pin in there, alright? And then try to get that rod in there somehow, okay? Like that. Got it? Did you get that? Alright, and then put your nut back in. I hope I remember where where it was. All right, just put the nut back in the right place, and if you did it, then you're just gonna have to adjust your brake again. I have a video on how to do that. Okay, I'm gonna push this back, tighten this up. Okay, you won't have a fancy one like mine, because I'm cool like that. Just make sure it's not dragging. Okay. Got it? Okay, so you want the brake to be all after you're done adjusting the brake, just make sure that your wheel still spins, alright, without the brakes dragging. Alright, that looks good. Okay, now we can go tighten our axle. Okay, last thing you want to do is put your chain cover back on. Always hard for me to do that. Okay, so there is a torque spec for these bolts. It's 7 Newton meters, but I'm just gonna snug it with the Allen wrench. Okay. But yeah, make sure it's pretty tight. You don't want these coming off, or else chain cover is gonna not be happy. Okay. Okay, if you took your reflector out, put it back. Okay, and so with that, I have reinstalled the wheel. Alright, so in this video I showed you how to take the wheel off and reinstall it, and what a pain in the butt it is. So let's say, it's a lot of work to take that wheel off. I wouldn't want to do that on the side of the road or something, is what I want to say, okay? There shouldn't be any reason to, because you got tubeless tires and you should be able to repair it like on the spot, alright? But yeah, if you needed to take that wheel off so you could take the wheel off and patch tire off and patch it, it's a lot of work. Okay guys, it's a big pain in the booty. So I pretty much used all the tools that I mentioned. All right, I did use this extension with the 12mm socket so I could get to the stopper arm nut. Okay, one thing I want to point out is you got to put the stopper arm for the brake back on before you tighten the axle, because if you don't, you won't be able to move the brake. Okay, the brake will be like stuck in place. Okay, and then another note is use a jack stand, put it under your swing arm before you take the tire off. All right, because you may accidentally bump the bike or something and it'll fall back, and if the wheel's not on there, it'll really fall back. Okay, it'll fall back and hit the fender or something. All right, so that would be a good idea to do. All right, put something underneath your swing arm so your bike don't fall over. All right, and then if you're just gonna mess around with it, if you're gonna be touching the chain and stuff, which you will be, wear gloves, because my chain was really greasy. Is what I want to say. Okay, and then yeah. So I marked everything before I put everything before I took everything off, so that helps a little. But I would go ahead and yeah, I went and checked the chain adjustment again. All right, I adjusted the chain. You're already there, you might as well do it. So I used the settings that I had, you know, before, and then I fine-tuned it. All right, is what I did. All right, I adjusted the chain basically, and then I adjusted the parking. I adjusted the rear brake lever. All right, or the rear brake. Yeah, I adjusted the rear brake assembly, and yeah, so. You just want to make sure that the wheel still spins smoothly, all right, when you roll it, all right? If you got it on there too tight, then the brake will drag on the wheel, and that's not good, right? It's not good for the brakes. Okay, that's how you do it. There's only really two things to torque. Was the axle, 44 foot-pounds, and the stopper nut, which is 16 foot-pounds. Okay, not that much. Everything else. The covers are 7 Newton meters, but I didn't torque the covers. I just snugged them. Okay, and yeah, there's really not that much stuff to torque. It's just like trying to get everything out. But I guess if you did it enough, it would probably be pretty easy. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching. That's how you remove the wheel. If you want to find out how to replace a rear tire, I have a video for that. All right, because that's the reason I took the wheel off in the first place. And if you want to watch a Super Cub do a burnout, then check that video out too. I'll put links at the end of the video. All right, thanks for watching. Here's what we got.